through the car as little as possible.
How the
What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? No music to get started today. Changed it up. Just trying to hurry up. How's everyone's day been going so far? Welcome to the stream. With that being said, though, I probably will just run a few tunes in the background. So let's see. Let's try this. Let's see what this playlist is all about. But what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another live stream here. Let's share my screen. That subscriber count isn't even accurate, but it's fine. Let's see. Rick, what's going on? Artful, what's going on, man? Lori, hello, hello. What's going on? Did Bitcoin and ETH get divorced? That's a great question. Benjamin Cohen, regency bias. The Doge is the redheaded stepchild for custody. That's funny. Don't forget, guys, hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's try and get to, I think we can do 40 likes today. Let's just make the goal. And of course, when you click the like button, more people will come, and those people can click like, and that's how we'll reach 40. Let's take a look at TradingView because the thing is, right now, Webull charts are down. Let's see what's going on today. So let's start with Dogecoin. Do a little analysis on what we've got going on here. Don't forget, guys, feel free to start asking your questions if you've got anything. That way I can be prepared to answer. Nice playlist. Thank you. This one's not going to work. Let's do this one. Let's up the time frame a bit. All right, so this is taking a look from a bird's eye view at Dogecoin. What you can see right here, though, is that we're in a downtrend, obviously. This is just probably over the last 2 weeks right here. We did hit 35 cents, and ever since then, we've been making lower lows, lower highs on the way down. So we made a low consolidated at around 29 cents with a spike low here at about 27.5, 28. Then we made a bounce back up. Bounce back up to about 33. Came down to 27 again. And we kind of did a double bottom there, 2 touches at that support level, but it did not hold. And we only bounced up to 30, then bounced off 26. And we've just been consolidating, and trading sideways. What did I just push? It's not what I wanted to push, whatever I did push. And so overall, I mean, that's not a particularly good thing. So just overall, guys, in case you were confused or wondering, we are in a downtrend, and we have not broken it quite yet. Hey, what's up, Preezy and Rick? What's going on? Thank you for clicking that like button, everybody. Hopefully that'll get us some good views today, and we can have a pretty good stream with a lot of questions and interaction. So right here, though, we are at about 27.5 cents on Dogecoin. There's a couple things going on that I think are worth interesting immediately, and then we'll switch over to like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and look at the other guys in comparison. The first thing to make note of is that we are constantly rejecting the 200 EMA line here, and though we're latched onto it, we're still trading on the underside of it. Usually, people don't switch to a bearish mindset until you start trading comfortably above the 200 EMA. That's considered bullish territory. Under it is what is the song? Under it's considered bearish territory. So for that reason, it becomes much easier and much safer to place buys once you flip to the top side, because then you can be more confident that at least there should be an uptrend, or at least just some more bullish pressure in your favor, so you don't end up in the red immediately. And you can take note on Dogecoin pretty much every time it crossed above and held. Right here, there was a bit of an uptrend. Right here, we had an uptrend. So on the 200 EMA, on like the 30-minute time frame, if you want to keep it kind of short term, we want to see a flip to the top side and some comfortable trading. And at least, even if it's a small little fake move like this to here, that was still 3 cents. So it's still going to be an opportunity to make some money. But that being said, being that we're here, this is really the short sellers territory. Clean bounces off the 200 EMA on the underside is when ideally they'd want to be looking for sells if they're short biased. So that's not really when you want to be just looking for buys. All right, but when you look at it from a bigger picture, you can see that there is some pretty consistent support here at this 27-cent level. The thing is, and the problem is that we're not really respecting it. But you can see here, right here was about 28 cent support. We've got another touch right here. We've got the tip of this little point here. You can see just a lot of trading activity here. This was considered a low point right here at 28 cents. And we're messing around with flipping under it. If we can just hold here and get to the top side of the 200 EMA and start curling back up, that could be a really good entry point. But that being said, if we're not going to do that and we're going to dip down to like here, 26 cents again, I'm getting a little concerned on the Dogecoin side. And I know it's probably a little hard to see my chart there. I know I was zoomed out pretty far, but you can just see what I'm talking about. This line, literally where we are right now, this is kind of the line. Above that's better, under that's a little concerning. Thank you, Rafi. I appreciate that. Rafi asked, was I able to do any research on Solana? If so, what are my thoughts? I think it's going to be something big, but you are the professional. So let me clarify. I'm more of the professional trader, not so much the professional crypto analyst, but I feel like I do a lot of research and I give my best opinions on what I think is going to happen with certain cryptos. But cryptocurrency, it's been, this year's really the first year I've been in cryptocurrency, but I've done a lot of studying and a lot of analyzing along the way, which is maybe you may not think that. But I did get a chance to look at Solana a little bit, and I do have some thoughts on it. Now, as far as Cardano and Solana are concerned, let's just do this first. Let's go. Let's see if we can find both of their websites here and just do a quick on-stream comparison. Let me go ahead and pause the music really quick and see if we can just get right to the spec sheet. Because at the end of the day, the specs are what's the most important because really you want the specs, you want a decent, solid foundation, and you want ease of development to bring developers onto your platform. Let's go to technology. Now Solana's were right on the home page. Interesting. Okay, let's read that as well. Give me 1 second. Well, that's kind of annoying. They should have the spec sheet right here. Should not be that hard to find. Cardano specs. All right, if someone has a link, we can move a little faster. Anyway, the thing is with these, it's a really weird angle that you have to come to with. Wait, let me read your comment. Just sent you a comp chart for Cardano in my email. Oh, cool. Hang on, let me grab it. I did today was absolutely insane. I had a little bit of time to do a little bit of research, but not as much as I wanted to. So I was hoping to just bring up a comparison chart and look at it from that way. Thank you, Rafi, for shooting that my way. Cool. So let's look at it from here. So this is talking like transactions per second here, the transaction fees, all of this, transaction resolution time and everything. So basically, I mean, when you look at these, you can see Ethereum is lagging really hard right now at only 17 transactions per second. Now with Ethereum 2.0, this number is obviously going to skyrocket to, what is it supposed to be like, in the hundreds, like maybe 100 transactions per second or something like that. But that's nowhere near where a lot of these guys already are. And that's why I said Ethereum's already setting itself up to be kind of the dinosaur of the crypto world, in the same way that Bitcoin's kind of becoming the dinosaur of the crypto world. Now, that doesn't mean that Ethereum or Bitcoin are going to go anywhere, but it does mean that a lot of these more technically advanced network solutions could end up finding a good window of opportunity to gain some market cap, gain some momentum and traction, and then start stealing some of Ethereum's thunder, which will mess it up a bit, especially with a lot of the problems that the Ethereum network has. Now, I will say the Doge to Ethereum network bridge could cause some change that up a little bit and give Ethereum some more popularity, but other than that, there's still some problems. This could be big, bringing ERC20 tokens to Cardano, especially if we get a Doge ETH bridge, and we can kind of also, anyway, you know what I'm thinking there with Cardano network, much cheaper. So this is a good flow chart. Let's go straight into the specs, and hopefully this is accurate. This was from another YouTuber. So Ethereum, 17 transactions per second. Cardano, 250 transactions per second. Solana, 59,000 transactions per second. Not even remotely close. Obviously, Solana has takes the cake there. Stellar's also not bad, and should be probably something to consider. Then you've got Cardano with a about 2-cent transaction fee, whereas Solana's transaction fees pretty much non-existent. About 2 minutes or so to get the transaction, I guess, verified, like the block rate. This is 0.4 seconds, and then they're both proof of stake. So on paper, Solana's the clear spec winner when you're looking at those 4 specs. In my opinion, for the everyday person, though, you know, transactions per second, the transaction fee, and how fast everything gets verified is very important when it comes to retail transactions, because you want to be on a network that's going to be very inexpensive to use and very fast. So from that angle, Solana could be better set up. Cardano though, and Ethereum, and here's what I really think is going to happen, guys. I feel like in a way, all of these are going to have some large portion of market share. Network solutions will probably take up the top 10 to 15 come sometime next year, the top 10 to 15 slots in coin market cap. That's really where all of the value is going to be. These networks that are providing a great platform for these apps to run on top of in the first place. Oh, that's from the Sol site? Oh, perfect. And so I think you probably can't go wrong with any of these except for maybe Tezos. I don't know how comfortable I feel with that. EOS, no one really talks about that either, even though it has good specs. But I hear a lot about Stellar, I hear a lot about Solana, and I hear a lot about Cardano. Now, the other thing you have to consider with these low transaction fees is that typically these transaction fees can help pay miners. So what's going on? How are the miners getting paid, and what incentive are they going to have to validate and stake, or if it's proof of stake, or run their mining rigs if it's proof of work, to be a miner or validator on that network? So really low transaction fees are great, but then I also wonder, well, what kind of demand is there going to be for for people to validate stake and mine, because how are they going to get their money? And if it's just going to be through creation of tokens, then what's going to be the inflation rate per year? How much value will a Solana coin hold versus a Cardano or Ethereum coin? Because we know with ETH 1559 update, they implemented a burn. So a large portion of the transaction fees that we're seeing on Ethereum right now are getting burned, and tokens are getting taken out of circulations, which is making it less inflationary. And so then I start to wonder about, this really low fee, unless there's just as many transactions getting, you know what I mean? This is just really, 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 really cheap. $2, 2 cents, and this is like the price of a one SHIB token. So that's a bit concerning. And then the other thing that I can't really gauge is just going to be the ease of development on each of these networks. So which one's going to be the most appealing to developers, to software developers, as they come in and they want to build DeFi apps? Which one's going to have the best program for them to use? Because Ethereum has its own language where you can pretty easily make a DeFi app on ETH network. Cardano has its own. I don't know about Solana. I would hope it would, but if it doesn't, that's a big problem. There's just so many factors to consider. But one of the main things I just like to hear is people talking about the certain cryptocurrencies. I don't hear people talking about EOS, Tezos, or Stellar. I hear Cardano, Solana, Ethereum. So those being the most popular ones, and also having the best, really good specs. This one has first mover advantage. These two have really solid specs and a good following. I like those. EOS could probably be something to take a look at as well. Need bandwidth by staking. Yeah, it gets really complicated, but obviously Solana's the spec winner, which I think is a big deal. So maybe that one would technically have the most potential. And if we look at Solana, it's only a $31 million market cap, whereas Cardano's at 90. So you could see a $300 Solana if it matched Cardano in value, according to everybody. So, and then you could see even more move up. So potentially what is that? An 11, 12, or a 13x price increase, maybe a $1,000 Solana if it were to reach Ethereum's value. So as far as cost potential is concerned, from our specific spot, Solana, in my opinion, is definitely going to be the winner, because at the end of the day, though people are talking about like a $15, $20, $30, $40, $50 Cardano, market cap makes that difficult because it starts putting in people's heads like yeah, I'm not a big fan of Stellar. I've heard a couple things about it. Never really, like I said, I like following behind things where people are also passionate about it. If it seems like no one cares about something, I don't feel drawn to it. I want to go where other people are already going, or where other people are going to go. Yeah. And so, though there is potential to break market cap barriers and all of that, it's still a bit of a mental resistance in people's heads, because they do respect value, company value, and where it should be placed, which makes me think Cardano 3, 4, 5x, okay, but Solana can get like a 10 to 13x off with that same, to get to the same spot. But then Cardano can also, if it was deemed better than Ethereum, I mean, it's got room up to Bitcoin or beyond, which is another 10x. So there's still plenty of room out there, guys. There is plenty of room for gains. But to just answer your question, I mean, Solana is way cheaper at this moment, and it's got, at first glance, it's got way better specs. So take that for what it's worth. So 100x this year already. Yeah, to 100x and still have 100, what did I say? To still have like 10x left, plus 10 to 100x left is crazy. Let's see. Sol had a big event today regarding their platforms and how they work with a lot of big backing. I think you should check out some info on it, because I think you could explain and understand. Okay, I'll try and do that today and have it for tomorrow. Today did not go as planned. Work was another nightmare, so hopefully I'll be able to get some more research time going. But let's go back to the TA here. What is this music? All right, we got to change the playlist up a little bit. I put in electronica and dance, and this isn't it. It's like old school. right, let's see what this is all about. Okay, so we already took a look at Dogecoin, and all right, the chart doesn't look like it's back, so let's go back to TradingView. If we flip over to, let's do a quick little check on Shiba Inu, not that I care. All right, it's under 7, that's not good. All right, now let's go to Bitcoin. How's Bitcoin doing? 47. I'm still not feeling good about Bitcoin. Like I said yesterday, we had that uptrend. We broke multiple uptrend lines. Now we're coming to some horizontal level of support right at around 47.3 and back down to about 46.5. But I think this is time for the pullback to 45K. We should get a pullback to here. I think this would be really healthy to get a pullback to somewhere in this area. Even if it's 45.5, that would be really good. Wherever that 200 EMA is going to fall by the time we get there on the downtrend. Let's see, where's it right now? It's creeping up. All right, so now it's up to 45.5. So by the time we get down there, maybe it'll be 46. We need a touch off of that and like maybe even a little slingshot under and a takeoff to, I think, propel us to the next level. We haven't gotten that healthy pullback yet, and people are probably looking for a solid entry off of a 200 EMA bounce. So that's going to be a problem for continued momentum over 50 or 51,000. Going to ADA. ADA's a bit extended as well. Now, the thing is, like I said yesterday, it's for catalysts, so having all that bullish momentum isn't that bad. But I think it is due for a pullback as well. Bit of a downtrending pullback, though. I mean, we'll see how this breaks out to the bottom side or up. But I think it wants to pop for a $3 run. It already hit 298, though. People probably already got it out of their system. And I think it could also use a healthy pullback pretty far. I would love, if you guys have any questions, feel free to slap them on me. Throw them at me. I need ADA to give me a 10 to 20x at minimum. Jeez. It's like the roaring 20s. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. I was like, this is not electronica and dance unless like you're in the 20s or 30s. I'm still here with you on Doge, bro. I'm just trying to get us all some... Yeah, absolutely. No, the thing is, guys, right now, like I said yesterday, Doge is pretty stale. I don't mind that Doge is trading stably and trading sideways, but I do understand when Dogecoin is not printing the tendies for us, then I usually go elsewhere temporarily. I did the same thing a couple months ago with Ethereum and, you know, just bouncing around to different coins and stuff. Did the same thing with ACH, did the same thing with AMP. Because Doge is not always going to be the moneymaker, and I do not have a super special attachment or love. I do love Dogecoin, but I don't have any kind of attachment to it to where it's like I can't sell it on my trading accounts and go mess with something else before I come back. So Dogecoin at this moment, in my opinion, is doing the worst out of all of them, but it's for good reason. These other guys, they have catalysts. They have reasons to move. Dogecoin does not yet. It does not have a new catalyst to have bullish momentum off of. So it only makes sense that your Ethereum and Cardanos are going to tend to trend up, while your Dogecoin that has no new news is going to tend to just trade sideways or down if that's where Bitcoin's pulling it, just kind of following, going with the flow. But that means that if I'm going to short, I want to look at something a little more bearish. If I'm going to go long, I'm looking at like ADA or Cardano. I mean ADA or Ethereum, because those are trending up. So that's my perspective right now. But yeah, definitely would love, if there's a really obvious play, would love to be a part of it. Now, if we look at Solana's, there's too many similar names here. Let's look at its chart. Strong pullback here, which is good. I definitely wouldn't have bought it at 130. A nice pullback spot would be to right about here, I think. People might start seeing some value in the $90 to $100 range here. See where this first pullback was. You'll probably see some people try and dip by here. Maybe a small bounce up and then a further pullback down. But I think anywhere in this like 90-ish window is probably a good spot. Or obviously if it could get a pullback to the 200 EMA at 70, that'd be even better. But that would be a pretty steep drop. Unless this was just a pump and it's due for the dump. So yeah, 66 would be cool. Or even 80. But probably 90 is the lowest we're going to get if we can get under 100. That's where I would like to see a dip buy on Solana. So, and we're actually at 108, so we're getting there. But obviously, I think Solana has a lot of potential. The difference though with Solana versus Cardano, guys, keep in mind, Solana's kind of already established in a way to where it already has, like, its smart contracts platform is up. And so there's, as far as I'm concerned, if my understanding is correct, Solana already has DeFi apps running on top of it, whereas Cardano does not, and it's already third place market cap. So whether or not we could say that Cardano is overrated, or, you know, maybe it just has not done its full takeoff yet, which could be massive. But this is third place without having apps running on top of it. This is just, I think, the popularity factor, in the same way that Ethereum has that popularity factor. But that's a massive deal when your catalysts are still ahead of you and you're already about to take over the market. So for that reason, me personally, I'm feeling just a little bit better about Cardano. Short to like midterm, I am. Now, if you're thinking super long term, maybe the technical superiorities of Solana might kick in. The underlying superiorities, faster transaction speeds and cheaper fees, could kick in much longer term and drive this up further. But I think shorter term, this is like the rocket that's ready to take off. That would just be my guess. And don't forget about Polkadot. Poor old Polkadot never gets talked about. ETH dominance is rising. Bitcoin dominance falling. It's starting to move to alt season per Bitcoin alt season charts. I agree. Yeah, chat's been pretty quiet this week. I think there's just not a lot of people too excited with Dogecoin trending down, which I understand. These times are not the fun times. I mean, we've had all of these different kinds of streams. For the first couple weeks when I started live streaming, it was like right after SNL, and we had plenty of hype stuff to talk about. Then for the next 2 months, it was sell off every single day. And then we had Coinbase. I mean, we had some exciting times in there, but during the downturn time, everyone gets quiet and kind of goes into their hole. But consider getting into shorting, or consider just doing some research and getting excited about some other coins other than Doge, because there's a lot of other things to trade until we get our Dogecoin catalysts and Bitcoin recovery. So, but Dogecoin's sitting at 25 cents right now when Bitcoin's at 47. Doesn't make me feel amazing, I won't lie. All the times are fun times. It was fun at 16 cents. That's true. It was fun at 16 cents. I think that was a fun time. That was a great time, in my opinion. Trying to guess where the bottom was, that did get exciting. But yeah, I really think this is about to be altcoin season. I'm a little concerned, just very, very slightly concerned about Bitcoin, because this would be a major shift. Can you imagine one of the alts overtaking Bitcoin in market cap? I think that could be an actual real problem and shake up the crypto space. Now, we know that Bitcoin has its projections and its price targets. You know, if you look at the stock flow, I think it's called the stock to flow chart, where it shows what Bitcoin's supposed to hit on certain date with all the math factored in, and the projections for 100K by end of year, 500K by the next couple years, all that. A big shakeup to that whole concept, I think, could be seeing Bitcoin no longer in first place, and people starting to consider whether or not it should be the primary store of value for crypto. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but seeing another cryptocurrency in first place could really change people's mindset. Seeing an Ethereum or Cardano take over could be a big deal. And then what if we start looking at another coin for store value? And then what if Cardano starts leading the wave of price movement in the crypto market? It could be very interesting. And that's why I kind of refuse to give price targets for more than a year out, because it's so early in cryptocurrency that we just have no idea where things are going to go. We have no idea where things will be next year. It's too early in the game. Taking a look at the price action here, you can see this very slight little trend here where we're making kind of higher lows. But we're also making much lower highs on the way down. Kind of has me concerned a little bit here, short term on Dogecoin, because we're already getting sandwiched between the two EMAs. We're respecting the 200 EMA as support, but we keep getting slammed down by the 100 EMA for resistance here. And rejection wicks on the top side, not so much on the bottom. Makes me think we might want to fall out the bottom and head towards that 24 to 2650 dip zone that we drew out. So I'm still waiting on that. Has the financial cartel invested into it? That's part of the push. Ah, okay. And that's a big deal as well. Backing. All right, yeah, let's take a couple minutes. And this will probably just be a shorter stream anyway. There wasn't a lot to talk about, but you know, I go live for any questions and all that. But let's go to YouTube and see if we can find any good content on Solana. Let's just do Solana Explained, and then let's do a Cardano Explained and see if we can compare the two. I think she does pretty decent videos. Let's check her out.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Exodus channel, your home for the best crypto videos. Make sure you hit those subscribe and like buttons, and we will keep the videos coming. With a name inspired by the coastal beach in California, Solana is a blockchain that has breezed into the race to be the fastest, most secure and scalable solution in crypto land. How does it measure up? Will it edge out Ethereum or other high-performance blockchains like Cosmos? Let's find out. What is Solana and what's the use case of the Solana coin SOL? Solana's team includes former technologists from Qualcomm, Intel, Netscape, and Google. Its CEO, Natalie Yakovenko himself, has software engineering experience from Qualcomm and Dropbox.
When you look at our team, it's not surprising that we're able to build this ridiculously fast blockchain.
The Solana network was actually able to raise funding from investors such as Multicoin Capital, Foundation Capital, and Distributed Global to the tune of $25 million. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty stats. First, scalability. Solana scales as a layer 1 blockchain at the rate of Moore's law, which states that processing speeds double every 2 years. Simply using CPU, GPU power, there is no need for sharding or other complicated layer 2 and Dropbox.
When you look at
I missed that. That was really important. Sorry, guys.
To build this ridiculously fast blockchain.
The Solana network was actually able to raise funding from investors such as Multicoin Capital, Foundation Capital, and Distributed Global to the tune of $25 million. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty stats. First, scalability. Solana scales as a layer 1 blockchain at the rate.
Okay, so this is already something important. Scalability just says leverages proof of history and several of the breakthrough innovations. Okay. Low cost, never worry about rising fees as your user base grows. Solana is designed to keep fees low for applications with billions of users. That's really important and already puts it a step above Ethereum because right now, like I said, transaction on Ethereum was costing me like $200 to execute a transaction, where on Solana network, apparently it will just cost a couple cents. That's a major difference.
A1 blockchain at the rate of
no one
Moore's
wants to
law,
waste hundreds
which states
of dollars.
that processing speeds double every 2 years. Simply using CPU, GPU power, there is no need for sharding or other complicated layer 2 solutions that compromise security and stability. We'll get into how Solana achieves this later.
So it also wants to primarily utilize
speed.
layer 1.
Solana creates a block every 400 milliseconds with sub-second confirmations and transaction speeds of 50,000 per second. With such speeds, Solana has already passed Ethereum in terms of block count. This has led some people to call Solana the world's first web-scale blockchain, as it has transactional capacity comparable to the internet. Next, validators. Solana has a global network of over 350 validators, ensuring network security and stability. Anyone can be a validator on Solana with no minimum staking requirement. Finally, fees. Solana costs about $10 for every 1 million transactions, making it one of the lowest cost chains around the block. In comparison though, Ethereum transaction costs an average of $2. What makes Solana different? Well, Solana puts forward 8 core innovations that differentiate it from the competition. And
that's a problem I have just with how do the miners get paid? $10 per million transactions versus Ethereum.
Puts forward 8 core innovations. Solana different? Well, Solana puts forward though, Ethereum transactions around the block. In comparison though, Ethereum transaction costs an average of $2. What makes Solana...
Yeah, $10 per million transactions versus $2 per transaction on Ethereum. That you have to keep in mind the people that are actually going to be validating. Now, the thing is though, if it's proof of work, if it's proof of stake, no one's going to care because they're just going to be staking their coins for passive income anyway. It's not going to be like people doing this for a job where you see all these corporations with their millions of dollars of computer equipment trying to make as much profit as possible off of mining fees. It's just going to be people that invest a lot and then they stake it for passive like APY return on investment. But still, these kind of concepts seems like they kind of kill the mining industry a bit, which we already knew. I don't mean the proof of work mining. I just mean the concept of being able to make like a living off of staking or being a validator or whatever. Obviously, that might not be true. That's just the first
8 core innovations that differentiate it from the competition, and they are proof of history, tower Byzantine fault tolerance, turbine, Gulfstream sea level, pipeline, cloud break, and archivers. But we're only going into proof of history, which is actually Solana's key innovation and secret sauce, allowing it to offer blazing fast transactions at 50,000 transactions per second. Despite the name, POH is not actually a consensus mechanism like proof of work or proof of stake. POH is actually a cryptographic clock in Solana's blockchain that allows nodes to agree on the time and the ordering of events without having to actually talk to each other.
This information tells us what event had to come before another.
Each Solana node maintains its own clock by encoding the passage of time in a simple SHA-256 sequential hashing verifiable delay function. This is a mouthful of words, so think of it graphically like this. Imagine taking a picture of yourself holding a newspaper, showing the date and the time, and publishing the photo in the next issue of the newspaper. POH works in a similar way to record time,
almost like a cryptographic timestamp.
This decreases node messaging overheads and other computation bulk, so allowing Solana to reach its high speeds. Solana's unique offering has attracted over 100 projects in DeFi, Web3, blockchain gaming to date. So let's look at some of them. First up, the crypto derivatives platform FTX, founded by Forbes 30 Under 30 Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yes.
So FTX actually launched a high-speed decentralized exchange called Serum on Solana, which means they actually leverage Solana's capabilities to offer sub-second settlements with minimal transaction fees.
Solana and Serum, you can actually run, massive volumes of trading through the thing.
Next, Audius, the community-owned audio streaming platform, has also chosen to partner with Solana and is actually currently working on migrating its content management system with a catalog of over 150,000 audio tracks to the Solana blockchain. Finally, Chainlink, the oracle providing data feeds to decentralized exchanges, is also partnering with Solana to develop a high-frequency oracle that will be able to provide price updates every 400 milliseconds. With promising partnerships, Solana's ecosystem is growing fast and carving out a formidable niche in the crypto.
So, this is good, and this is my point. This is the price of Solana right now already this far along. That's not to say that the price is not going to dramatically increase over time still, because it still has a lot of market cap space left, and it's just not as popular of a name, I don't think, as ADA is right now. But this is with Solana being as far along as it already is. When you look at Cardano and look at how far along it already is, it doesn't have any of these things yet. And though some of these are going to be native little special things for Solana, just the whole DeFi situation, Cardano still has a long ways to go. So what is that going to do to the value of Cardano versus what it's valued at right now? And I already know about Cardano, but we're just going to watch the video.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris with X.
This 1 year ago. This is fine.
We're going to take a few minutes to explore
I like their
Cardano
style.
ADA, a project that... And
Let's do this.
What is ADA? There isn't one simple...
Oh, artists can get paid for their music with no middleman? That's pretty huge. That's really big. I'm sure that's one of the biggest complaints for artists. Stupid rookie crypto investor question. Oh, gotcha, Preezy, gotcha. Let's see. Is investing in ETH or Sol or ADA the same as investing in Microsoft because they are platforms or networks? He says more like compared to Intel or AMD. Yeah, I think both of those are kind of correct. These network solutions, I'm trying to think. What's the best way to kind of explain it? Because you got to think these are different. You could just say companies that are trying to accomplish the same overall goal with some secret sauce and their own little extra things on top of it, in different ways. Like the same overall concept, so like proof of stake, right? But in different ways. and each one is trying to say like, well, mine's better because this and mine's better because that. So it's kind of like a mix of like an Intel versus AMD versus, and then also at the same time like a Microsoft versus Apple or something like that, in my opinion, or even a Apple versus Android type thing. They're all trying to provide a service, but
the question.
their execution is different, and it's just up to people to decide which one's going to be best. I wouldn't say Android versus Apple, probably not that, but yeah, it could be an Intel and AMD. That's probably the most accurate one, I think. And then it'll just be up to the people to decide like which network they will. The thing is, people, the everyday person, because you got to think for the most part right now, the everyday person's not super invested in crypto right now, or even crypto aware, and it may not even know what apps on an app store, for example, the AMP app right now, they may not even know or understand which apps are related to crypto, which apps run on like a crypto network or anything like that. As people do get more aware of these programs, though, they're probably just going to gravitate to whichever programs seem to work better and seem to be better and seem to be cheaper. So that's why, as much as these specs and everything is really interesting, my whole point is it's going to matter which platform just gets done better. I think that's what's going to matter at the end of the day. You'll always have like this, I think this underdog that technically spec-wise could be better. It seems like it's better, but just doesn't have like the market cap to really show that. But I think at the end of the day, the platform that's going to take off the most is going to be whichever one has the better apps that just the everyday person feels more gravitated towards using. And that could have a lot to do with the look and feel of it and the ecosystem in general, and then the fees for interacting with it, which is why I think though Ethereum has a couple things in its favor right now, as far as the development, the app ecosystem, the fees is a killer, and it absolutely is going to make the everyday person not touch it. People that are not techies, that don't consider themselves traders, or that aren't in the crypto space are not going to be able to make any sense of paying $100 to $200 to do a transaction. Imagine telling like your parent to use this app, and that, yeah, if you want to send your money from here to this external wallet, it's going to cost you $200. They probably just stare at you and walk away. It just, there's no sense to be made from it. Those are just the everyday person that isn't thinking like us. They're going to be considering these things a lot more heavily. So it might not be as complicated as we make it out to be, like all these different specs, but just how does it work for the everyday person?
Of what is Cardano? First of all, Cardano and ADA are two different things. Cardano is a blockchain, while ADA is a cryptocurrency that lives on the Cardano blockchain. In other words, Cardano is a home to the ADA cryptocurrency.
Yeah, platforms. Yep.
And while the Cardano blockchain can be used to send and receive ADA, it will also host smart contracts and applications. Now, this may remind some of us of Ethereum, since it does the same thing. And in fact, Cardano shares many of its roots with Ethereum. But although it's similar to Ethereum, Cardano's smart contract platform operates much differently.
Let's fast forward a little
jump
bit.
right in. It's not enough to simply say ADA lives. ADA is a proof of stake coin that fuels Cardano. Its purpose is to provide a quick and secure transfer of value and to allow users to operate smart contracts and applications. The maximum supply of ADA coins that will ever be created is capped at 45 billion. The current circulating supply is 31 billion ADA coins. New coins enter the ecosystem, and nodes validate transactions through a consensus algorithm called, now I hope I get this right, Ouroboros proof of stake. I'm going to throw out some technical lingo here, but stick with me. It's not as complicated as it may sound. In this protocol, nodes who earn a position as slot leaders generate new blocks in the blockchain and verify the transactions. In this case, Cardano slot leaders perform functions much like Bitcoin miners do. Anyone holding ADA can be a stakeholder and become a slot leader. You become a slot leader and publish new blocks to the network when Cardano's consensus algorithm selects a coin that you hold. A node is selected to generate or mint a new block within blockchains. Think of this as the internet of blockchains, an ecosystem where Bitcoin can flow into Ethereum and Ripple can seamlessly flow into Litecoin. One way that Cardano wants to do this is by implementing what's called sidechains. Sidechains would enable cross-chain transfers without any middlemen. Cardano supports sidechains.
I think that's a pretty big thing for Cardano as well. The cross-chain transfers really makes Cardano like almost a somewhat future-proofed network because it can interact with different coins on different networks, if that makes sense. So you don't have to worry about just native programs only for Solana only being able to interact with things on Solana because of the internet of blockchains and how it can then talk to other things on different programs. That's actually a pretty big deal when you think about 5 years from now, where you've got all these different networks running hundreds of different DeFi apps on each. Cardano having cross compatibility really allows it to branch out, and that could be a really big catalyst just in itself, and something that I haven't heard any of the others really mentioning. And I think that's kind of an underrated feature.
Based on a new protocol called the KMZ sidechain. The KMZ sidechain protocol allows funds to move securely from the computation layer to any blockchain that uses the same protocol. With this
protocol, I guess they'd have to run the same
with
protocol.
Certain regulatory compliances are able to interact with the settlement layer without having to share the data that needs to remain private.
All right, I've heard enough. All right, so interesting stuff. It seems the discussion on Solana is way more technical based, whereas Cardano's more of what does the future hold for Cardano and how can it branch into all these different areas? I don't see a problem with any take. I think they'll both be successful. Wow. Sol is still tanking here. And we'll see if we get that 90 bounce. That could be a nice bounce buy. Dogecoin is also tanking, heading towards the 200 EMA yet again. Some good comments here. Yeah, NVIDIA. That's also a good comparison. The NVIDIA versus AMD. So do I think that the price potential is large because Sol has all of this going for it already and ADA still has to update their features? Yes. I think that's kind of the main thing right now. Think of it this way. You're looking at the market cap of these companies already. Ethereum is almost in its final form. It's got one big update that's going to change it and will probably make it skyrocket. But Cardano is almost at where Ethereum is, and it also not only is far less popular in just the name, just the branding. It's far less popular. It's not even really being used yet. It doesn't have DeFi apps. It doesn't have the main part of what makes a network valuable. It does not have the ecosystem built yet. And it's top 3 already, and only about a fifth or less of Ethereum's market cap already, without even having all these things yet. And it's worth that much more than Solana is, despite Solana already being close to or very close to in its final form. Solana's already doesn't, as far as I know, and obviously I'll do more research on this, but this is just my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Solana already is pretty much in its final form as far as specifications go, major updates. It's things that it's advertised that it wants to do. It's pretty much there, and it's developing the DeFi app ecosystem at this moment, and it's already pretty established. And that's at this market cap here. Now, obviously, with more recognition and everything, I always say you just look at the leader in that space, and that's what the potential is for something else in that space. So, yes, Solana could still 10x technically if it got just as popular as a name as Ethereum. But Solana, as far as technicals are concerned, it's kind of already doing what it wants to do long term. Its long-term goals are already kind of being accomplished. Cardano is just starting. It does not have an ecosystem yet. It's already a more well-known and established name than Solana despite this, and it's already nearing Ethereum's market cap. So imagine once Cardano gets to where it wants to be, which is it's nowhere near its end goal. Imagine when it gets to where it wants to be, it starts to get a good ecosystem of apps. It starts to develop its use case and everyone become aware of it and its value even more so. It's already set up to potentially rocket past Ethereum in Ethereum's current state, at least. Emphasis on that. And then that's going to already put it at just half of Bitcoin's valuation. And just who knows how hard this one takes off when that time comes and it gets more adoption. That's my point. It's just way better geared to take over and become like a market leader than Solana is. Just the setup is better. Because this one's like already pretty much done and it's here. This one is not even started and it's up here. So imagine when it's done. That's the simple way to say it. That's my thought process, at least. And the thing that's really advantageous for Cardano, and this is the whole emphasis on my point, is being in this spot, ready to take this spot before Ethereum's ready to take this spot. That's going to be the key. The order of events is really, 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 really important. While Ethereum is down, that is Cardano's chance to take over and steal the show. If Cardano can't get to where it needs to get before Ethereum 2 comes out, then it might just be a little more doomed for Cardano, because it's going to be much harder to steal the thunder away from ETH2 Ethereum. Because Cardano versus ETH current, Cardano absolutely spanks it. But Cardano versus ETH2, that's not something that we're really talking about right now, because that's going to be a much more level playing field. Ethereum's got a lot up its sleeve for Ethereum 2.0. That's why it has a lot of future term potential, but this is Cardano's chance to really steal the spotlight and start gaining even more momentum if it can get where it needs to go before Ethereum gets ETH2. And it's geared to do that, and that's why I'm super bullish on Cardano. But if it takes too long, in the same way that I've said if Dogecoin takes too long to get to where it needs to be, and competition, other coins start getting formed for retail payments, and they start to steal the show, Dogecoin might not have as bright of a future because its first mover advantage opportunity kind of gets ripped away from it. Ethereum had first mover advantage. Now it's stalled out. Cardano has, in my opinion, I consider Cardano like a alt network. Ethereum is the network, and Cardano is an alt network. Ethereum had first mover advantage in the network space. Now Cardano has its chance while Ethereum has stalled out to take that lead. So, as the more Ethereum delays for ETH2, the higher chance this has of being an absolute rocket. So that's just my thoughts. A hackathon everybody bought because they assumed the news was going to be Sol was going to burn coins. Oh, that's awkward. In the long term, it would be ETH, Cardano, Solana in that order. I think, yeah, that could be. I don't know. It depends on what you mean by long term as well. They all have their own strengths, and that's why I think that they'll all be up there. I think it's really going to depend on developers. In the same way that you look at something like an Xbox versus PlayStation or Apple versus Android, a lot of times it's like the apps or the games or the programs. Where do the developers that make the best products end up flocking? Because that's going to be the network that a lot of the people, the everyday consumers, that's where they're going to gravitate. And you'll see a lot of the demand on that platform. And for that reason, a lot of the value getting assigned to that particular platform. And it's just so early because they all are going to be great. ETH2, Cardano in its final form, and Solana in different ways. So which one will win? Or will it just be a constant best of 3 fighting match for the next couple of years? Yeah, audio sounds really, really OP. Let's see. This one's probably run up quite a bit. It's actually not that bad. It went up to about, what is that, $5? $4.50? It started really cheap. It had a pullback to under $1 in June into July into August. It was only $1, and now it's $2.50. This could have a lot of potential. What's the market cap? Still pretty low. This Audius could have a lot of potential in the if cryptocurrency is really going to be shaking up the way that we do things, banking and just everything in general. This could have a lot of potential because there's probably nothing that artists of any kind hate more than having a middleman unnecessarily to take their coins, you know. So if this could help eliminate that, that could be big. All in Doge and Cardano, nice. 350, that's a bit steep. I don't think it's impossible though, because that puts it near Cardano. That puts it in near Cardano in its current state. But like I said, what catalyst is going to make Solana 3x from here to there? That's the question that I try and ask myself. What's going to make it do it? Is it just adoption isn't there, or is it just word of mouth and everyone's like, oh Solana, and you know, just more people buy? Or is there going to be some kind of update, some kind of catalyst that can make something 3x in market cap all of a sudden? That's what I try and think of it that way. I don't know if there's an answer for that. I'd be more bullish on Cardano hitting 20 or something like that. $4 when it announced the TikTok partnership? Okay. Yeah, growth dependent. Yep. But to kind of answer your question better, Rafi, yes. I do think that profit potential is large because Sol has all this going for it and ADA still has to update their features. Yes to that question. And then yes to that will also give Solana more room to run. So I really think it's just going to be one of those things where you pick one and you hope for the best because they're probably all going to move. Or maybe you just diversify. I do think just based off technicals, a quick glance at the chart, $90 looks pretty solid. Because looking here, if you go to something, let's just do the 4-hour time frame. Short term, $90 is the closest, in my opinion, safe. The easiest way to look at dip buy opportunities is to look on the way up. Where were the deep pullbacks at? The closest deep pullback that it had was right here. If you see this run up, this big pullback to a support line before it took off the rest of the way, that was right to $90. Now, the better spot, in my opinion, the safer spot where I'd feel way more comfortable buying in would be right in this area. So after the first massive run up, the deep pullback here, which is also going to be where the 4-hour time frames 200 EMA is going to meet, right in this general area between like $70 and $80. If I could get a dip buy anywhere in there, I'd feel pretty confident. But on the high end, it would be somewhere in this 90 to like 95-ish range, I think. But 70 to 80 is going to be like the money zone. If you could get a dip buy there, I probably would take it. Yeah, maybe 175. I could see that. Yeah, it's had a massive run already. Push the knife in. And yeah, just not necessarily Rafi. I look less at how long it's been around and more at just what it's accomplishing and how much more room for growth that it has as a platform, as a program. And I think Cardano just has more room for growth right now. Now with market cap, Solana has more room to grow. So that's why I said it's a battle of Cardano not having all the features that it needs, that it's going to have yet, and still for that reason having way more reason to be more valuable, and versus Solana already having reason to be valuable but just being lesser known. But since it's so cheap, also having way more room to run if it gets more well known and people decide to buy it up. So it's just pick your poison. They both have reasons to go up. Ah, gotcha. I don't think we'll see a $2 ADA again. Now, if the market crashes, if we get one more like market crash, because don't forget we still are waiting on that crypto regulation, and I think that's why we're seeing a lot of stalling out in the crypto space. This was what I was talking about before, how I thought we'd see the whales push the price up to 50K. and I did expect the sell-off to start sooner, but best case scenario, I was thinking they'd push it up till the day of, knowing that their plan was not to hold it long-term during this month coming up here as we go towards the crypto regulation time, because it just doesn't make sense to be bullish when you're going to be having bearish news and you don't know how that bearish news is going to be delivered and how it's going to come out. So as an investor, it just seemed really stupid to be going full long at 45 to 50K, knowing that the government could very well make you lose hundreds of thousands of dollars if they do something wrong. So it just didn't make sense. So this is starting to follow that play where Bitcoin made the run up till literally the last moment. All the whales buying, and then you just see no more buying pressure anymore after the House of Representatives met. Everyone's just either selling, shorting, or not doing anything at all until further notice. Now, I don't think if you're not super pessimistic, I don't think 45 to 46K is a bad place to dip by. But just depending on how things play out, if the whales do end up concerned and we end up seeing some sort of sell-off, if we mess with 45 and look weak, and we get some part two-ish bit of a market crash, whether that's, maybe that's just down to like 42.5 or back down to near 39, then maybe that will give us a dip buy closer to $2 on ADA. But Cardano is, I don't know. It's in a really bullish state right now. So even with bad news, I think Cardano is going to fall the slowest out of all of them. So to get a like $2 to $2.10 Cardano is going to take a lot of a pullback. I don't think we're going to see ones at all unless Bitcoin ended up back under 30,000 again. And just being close to that, I think is going to be really difficult because we're looking at $3 now. So we're talking about going back down a whole nother dollar. Yeah, FOMO is the worst. Yeah, if you got some at $2.08, that's awesome. My dip buy opportunity, my dip zone that I want for Cardano, I want to grab it as close to 250 as I possibly can. 240 would be even better. I'd probably just all in at 240 and not touch it anymore. But if I could get even like a 250 to 260-ish area buy, somewhere where this 100 EMA happens to be on the 4-hour time frame, if I could get a dip to there, I'd feel pretty comfortable with that as well. What I like to do is get a buy at an area where it probably won't come very often, so I don't really ever feel the need to like panic sell. I don't like putting myself in situations where I open myself up to emotional opportunities. So for example, if I was able to buy, if I caught this dip here to like 249, 250, and I was paying attention and grabbed that, I'd feel really good about that, knowing it was just very unlikely that the price pulled all the way back there again. And even if it did, it's unlikely that it would go much further. So that's the kind of dip buy I like to have. And that keeps FOMO from kicking in, and it keeps panic. The feel like, oh, I need to panic sell, and then you see it go coming really close to you, like, should I cut my trade? Is it going to keep going down? That's why I like to buy in these zones. That's the kind of dip buys I look for. But even still, if we did get a crash, the 200 EMA on Cardano is at 220 already. So if you're talking a dip buy back down $2, something really bad in the market would have had to happen to make ADA go down that far. Glad to hear that, Lori. Awesome. Yeah, just looking for plays. Just looking for some plays. My thoughts on this sector as a whole, though, it's kind of like the smartphone sector. Basically, in order to be successful, you need to get some popularity. You need to get some popularity under your belt so that you attract developer attention and so that you end up with a great fleshed out network. Though, in a lot of cases, I would recommend taking a look at some lower market cap altcoins to look at potential growth opportunities. I think in the cryptocurrency network space, when we're talking about things like ETH, Cardano, and so on and so forth, I don't think that's the case. Think of it like smartphones. We've got Samsung, we've got Apple, we've got barely even have LG anymore, and we've got some other smartphone companies. the new companies that come up, how often do you hear advertisements about their devices? How often do you hear people actually wanting to purchase those phones or their products? People like to stick to the things that they know work and that they know have a lot of support, and they don't really like to be the beta testers for platforms that are going to potentially influence their day-to-day life. So, for example, when you want a smartphone, you probably just want the latest iPhone or Galaxy phone because you know it's going to work well, it's going to have good specs, it's going to be a well-supported, solid device with good customer service, and it's going to have all the apps you need. You don't necessarily want to go messing with the new Pocophone or something like that, Chinese-specific, like Chinese-made phone that's supposed to be like really cheap, and it might be cool in a couple ways, but it might have apps that don't work, and it might crash all the time, and it might not have good customer support, and you just don't know about the company. I think it's going to be the same concept for networks, and I think right now what we've got is like the Google, the Apple, the Google, the Samsung. Like we've got those big guys up here, and we've got these other ones. We've got like the Motorola, and we've got like the LG, right? But when it comes, and they are perfectly fine coexisting. Now, as far as which one ends up taking and sitting in the top spot amongst the 3 or 4, it's going to be probably the one that everyone just agrees on has the most value, which is probably going to be from the platform being the easiest to use and having some of the best apps, and also being relatively inexpensive. But these other guys way down on the market cap list that are trying to make blockchains, they're going to be lacking the developer support. They're not going to have as many apps. They're not going to have as much use. It may not be as secure. So I think it's kind of just this list is already establishing itself. And it may not even matter short term which one you go into. You'll probably make a lot of money. Is that an inverse head and shoulders forming on ADA? No. No, not quite. An inverse head and shoulders needs to be cleaner. So you need to see... that's not an inverse head and shoulders. Please hold. It needs to be cleaner. That's not what we're seeing quite yet. Let me delete that and redo it. Had a brain fart. It needs to be cleaner like that. This whole consolidation, forming a flag right here and deciding what it's going to do next, like this doesn't classify. Anytime you see a pattern, it needs to be pretty well defined, so that, because the goal is, you want the whole purpose of like patterns and indicators is to see what everyone else is seeing, to know what they're probably going to do based off of what they see. And then since everyone thinks the same way that trades, that concept just kind of speaks itself into existence. So if people see inverse head and shoulders, they're going to buy in knowing that it's a reversal pattern and that everyone else should buy in. And everyone's thinking that same thing, that everyone else should buy in, so they all buy in. You know, like speak itself in. But this right here, like it isn't clean enough for everybody to see that, oh, that's an inverse head and shoulders. So it won't play out. But good eye, though. If looking for potential good money, not financial advice, but that is XRP in the short term for sure, because it never got the run. That is true. With the legal issues, XRP has been held back. So that could be Dogecoin's main problem, I think, as it comes out of the legal issues. Is going to be an XRP coming out of the darkness. Because don't forget, when I first started talking on stream about these cryptos, I did say XRP was one of my coins that I liked, because it technically has better specs than Dogecoin does. So if you're looking in the retail space for a retail coin, XRP was kind of that coin. But then people started having complaints about centralization, and then the lawsuit stuff kind of got it into a messy situation. But coming out of that, I still think it has a lot of potential, and I still think it could be a good play for corporate use, especially where Dogecoin, I've always said Dogecoin could be the person's coin, the retail coin, and XRP could be the corporate coin. People won't have a love for it, the name, the logo, and everything, but it could still be very, very good for just moving money. If I went all in at 31.55, would I just stay in Doge or would I hold? That's a good question. I let's take a look at Dogecoin's chart, and I'll try and answer that question. So at this moment, I wouldn't do anything because we're at the potential bottom on Dogecoin, and I'm never going to recommend, it's just bad practice to ever recommend selling at support, especially not the 200 EMA support, because that is the strongest support line that you're going to find on time frames. The 4-hour 200 EMA level is pretty consistently the strongest line of any of the lines, especially if you can back that up with any kind of trend. But even if not, the 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, being that we're literally sitting off of that and trying to hold above it, this is absolutely not the time I would sell. If anything, this would be the time, if I was looking for an entry, I'd be buying, because this should be a bottom. So that's the way I like to think of it. When I'm trying to decide what should I do, I say, well, what if I had the opposite position? So if I'm in, what if I was not in? What would I be looking to do here? Would this be a point where I'm trying to short? Or would this be probably the better buy opportunity? So am I at the bottom of something, or am I at the top of something, holding it as resistance? So we are at the bottom of this potential pullback, holding the 200 EMA as support. So if anything, this is a buy zone if I were to take a chance, not a sell zone. So to answer your question, at this moment, I would be holding, and I would be hoping that it would go up. And if anything, looking at this as a potential average down opportunity spot. Please hold. That was pretty loud. So that would be that. Now, yeah, and it's just really difficult at this point to recommend any kind of sell, because you're just in this potential. See, this is the reversal line, and then this is the potential lowest area that it should be going. So if you've held on for this long, it's awkward to look for a sell at this point. This should be where it will reverse, and if it doesn't, this should be where it will reverse. So if you're selling here, and this is supposed to be the bottom area, it's probably the wrong choice. So the move would have either been to try and make a decision way earlier and sell up here, or just kind of deal with the consequences and look for some more money to average down, if anything. But I could not recommend a sell in this general area. No. I meant to say. Okay, cool, Dr. Derbs. But that's why my general reasoning, it's just to, sometimes you have to like punish yourself. Like if you make a bad trade, you can't look for the easy out, in my opinion. It doesn't always work out very well for you, because you might say, all right, well, the easy out is, well, I bought in at 30, 31, 32. I ignored my charts. I didn't trade the way I was supposed to trade. I didn't take a sell when I should have sold. So now what do I do? Well, we're just getting so low. I'm just going to sell and look for a re-entry later. I messed up. A lot of times that ends up being the wrong choice, because you look for that sell and just say, I messed up. I'm just going to take the loss. And you did that right at the reversal point. My typical style of trading, and this isn't necessarily like what it has to be, but if I mess up something, I say, all right, well, my punishment is now I'm at minus so-and-so, and I'm in the red this amount, but now I have to just continue trading properly from here on out, regardless of really what that means, because I made the choice to not sell, and so this is the consequence, and I should have been prepared to deal with that. Like, I punished myself for, putting myself in that scenario. And sometimes continuing to play out the trade properly is the punishment, because you might actually end up a little more in the red, but I try not to try and correct course by then improperly trading, because then even more odds just end up against me. I lock in the fact that I lost. That's just my general mentality. Because then I'm just locking in the red. I'm taking the L, and there's no comeback. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we are. 27 cents Dogecoin, not bad at all. I'm still not in on my holding account. I might jump in soon, regardless of what happens next. But like I said, I would love to see a little dip, a little pullback to here, maybe just a pullback to like 20, a little under 26 or something, and like a slingshot back up. That'd be cool. We'll see. But guys, looks like we're starting to slow down a bit in the stream, which is fine. Hopefully I was able to answer everyone's questions today, but I am going to go ahead and wrap it up. It's been about an hour and a half. Thanks for all the good questions. Don't forget, come back tomorrow with some good ones, and hopefully we'll see some more price action to talk about. It's been a little dry over the last couple of days as we've been trading sideways and just doing a very slow slow sell-off, but I think we'll see some more trading activity pretty soon, whether that's to the upside pretty sharply or to the downside even sharper. But I think we'll see something soon, just a couple days of consolidation. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. Don't forget, subscribe if you have not. That way you can be here for tomorrow's stream, and we can chat some more. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow in the next live stream. Have a good evening, guys.